William Sinclair.
Ditto.
Who's William St. Clair?
He was
Also need to pull
an
this
explorer of the Atlantic, early New World.
This is like Magellan-esque?
Mm-hmm.
No way.
Probably.
Are they in the same expedition?
I'm not even sure William Sinclair is a real thing.
Wait, when did we start using the word Magellan again?
We never
stopped?
well, I certainly didn't. A British historian, senior research fellow at the Institute of English Studies. So,
Oh, Sinclair? I thought it was Sinclair.
oh, Sinclair.
Great use of recording time right here.
First Earl? Said Earl.
Jarl?
I'm not going to read all this.
Just like I said.
But I'll take this as
I was right.
to be explorer-esque. Speaking of Williams,
We'll jump right in.
/ Willems,
Yeah, so do we decide if it's William or Willem? I
It's
forget
Willem.
last time. It's Willem?
it's officially Willem.
Willem.
I'm reading a book right now, same book I've been reading for the last month, where one of the four main characters' names is Willem. A little like...
Oh, my girlfriend's been calling him William this entire time.
No way.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Willem.
Hashtag
But I
Can't
probably
wait to
would've
come
been-
down on her for that.
I probably would have been doing the same unless you corrected me on Willem Dafoe, so...
Well, it's spelled like Willem, so we should have known that all along.
Yeah.
We should have used our young brain.
Yeah.
And by we, I mean I. Okay. Well, welcome back, gentlemen, to another episode. It's been a little while, perhaps 2 weeks since we've been in this stew. But as always, it's a pleasure to be back sitting at this wretchedly designed podcast studio that shall
Literally.
remain nameless.
Literally just a better version of what it used to be. It's better.
That mic isn't even attached to the arm.
3 functioning mics is what we've been working with this entire time.
This is
Fair enough.
It's acceptable. Okay.
What did we watch this week? I mean, no, in terms of content outside of the movie pod.
Holy shit, I was content pilled this
Were
2
you?
weeks. Yeah, I watched Kong Skull Island, Godzilla King of the Monsters.
Oh, God.
First 2 episodes of the second half of this season of Invincible, because they did that thing where they take a year-long break in between halves of the season, which is unacceptable, especially for an animated show in the 20th century. What else have I watched? Survivor.
You're cracked.
I'm cracked.
But no
The
time
Last
for Shogun.
Airbender.
Questionable.
This is true. This is literally. I was
Nice
debating
call
whether or
out.
not I even would tell you guys about this. But I've watched a lot of The Last Airbender, the animated series from Nickelodeon, and in increments after that.
The
watched
animated.
The,
Animated series.
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure since we have the new live action series.
yeah, I watched a couple episodes of that too.
Yeah.
Nice.
And it remains
Ass.
down on your list.
And it's just it can't be as good.
Yeah, fair.
So you're officially... could you turn my mic up a little bit, please? So you're officially a huge stan of those monster movies, the Godzilla, Kong
The first Godzilla one was really good.
universe.
Kong Skull Island was not as good as I remember, and then Godzilla King of the Monsters was just fine.
So you're excited for this
Yeah,
dumb Godzilla versus Kong?
Yeah, just for I guess the meme value.
Honestly, I saw reviews for it, and it's not even that bad.
3.0
Which is-
on Letterboxd.
That's impressive
Is it?
for that kind of movie. Absolutely, I thought that was going to
What
be
do
like
the
a
other ones
1.8.
have?
I think the first Godzilla's got high 3 point something.
Because the one with Bryan
Dang.
Cranston, I like that one.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Dude, he's barely in the movie.
yeah,
He dies very soon.
but he was marketed as a main
Spoiler
character.
alert.
Yeah, you were gonna watch that shit.
He saw it in theaters probably.
Godzilla, Gareth Edwards, 3.0.
That should have been higher.
Kong Skull
True.
Island, 3.1. This is the realm that they live in. I don't know what you're
That's
talking
fair.
about. Are you
That's
talking about the
fair.
one with Jack Black? That one I could see
I
getting a
don't
decent
remember.
score.
I remember that when we were kids. No, I thought they'd be in the high 2s.
That one was cheesy.
Outside of the 2014 one with Gareth Edwards, because that one was kind of good.
Yeah.
It was like a horror movie, and you barely show the monster, which goes to my point about I always talk about hiding in the shadows, blah blah blah.
I didn't really
Blah, blah, blah.
Better than that.
I didn't get the impression that they hid the monster. I thought we got enough coverage of the monster, in my opinion.
A healthy amount,
So you
Way more than Cloverfield or some shit.
show not told.
which is
Yeah.
You
goated
appreciate the
monster
show not
movie.
told value.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, well, let's dive right in. Oh wait, I'm
What
just
about
skipping
anyone
Matt
else?
and I.
It's
he,
okay.
he watched
It's part of the
30
push.
things.
You
I
watched
watched
enough
enough
for
for
all
all
three
of
of
you.
us.
Yeah,
I saw Sydney Sweeney's new one of her 15 movies out
Yeah.
right now, Immaculate, where she plays a nun in this convent in Italy, and For what it was, I thought it was decent. It wasn't my favorite movie of all time.
For what it was, explain.
For what it was, it's
For
just
being
like
a horror movie.
It's just a horror movie that you have low expectations for. I didn't go into it thinking it was going to be a Hereditary or anything. So obviously.
What about Saint Maud?
What about Saint Maud? Saint Maud was better.
Oh, okay.
If that's what you're asking.
Yes, that's what I was
But
asking.
you'd probably like Immaculate enough to
That's what Gabby told
make
me,
it
but
worth. I also
I'm
saw.
gonna watch it.
Oh wait, I still said Love Lies Bleeding last time, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. And then I've been watching Drive to Survive, season 6.
Oh, nice.
Oh, they're still making episodes of that?
Yeah, they do every season. Every season of F1, they have a season for the show.
Okay.
They just made
Sure.
a NASCAR one, which looks
Oh, yeah, I
like the
think I saw
drama
it.
looks really cool. I might watch that.
Sick. I think that's all that I watched.
Yeah. I've just been watching, like, Ashley and I will just turn on movies, like no effort movies. We watched Roadhouse with Jake Gyllenhaal, which was exactly how you would think it would be. Just like silly, like dumb movie, but semi-entertaining. And then I think that was it.
You watched Bodies, Bodies, Bodies.
Oh, I forgot about that. Yeah,
You
it
had a
was,
rough run
it
of
was
it
the
this
most
week on
forgettable. Oh my god, I was so mad at that movie. It
I'm
was so
surprised
bad.
you hate it as much as you did.
It was horrible. It was so. I predicted the movie, and me and Ashton both predicted what was going to happen, and like right off the bat, I'm like, this is so dumb.
You gave it 1.5 stars.
I thought
Is
it
that
was
the lowest?
literally horrible.
Is that your lowest rating since Crimes?
No, I gave something else 1.5 recently too. Probably Roadhouse.
2.5.
That has been a rough go. You were correct. Yeah, you're right. 1.5 is my lowest, and I can't even scroll far enough. Napoleon. That was the last 1.5.
Classic.
But yeah, so light on entertainment this week for me.
Wait, Dennis, you also watched One Day.
Oh, yeah. One day. That was really good.
They got lost in the
4.5
mix.
I finished
stars.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's not that crazy. It was just really good. It was the first time British people have ever played an appealing personality in their lives.
Yeah, James Bond.
James Bond doesn't at all. He's not appealing.
Oh, okay. He's cool too.
Thank you.
He gets a pass.
You saved it.
All right.
All right.
All right.
All right. So this week we watched Robert Eggers'
Egger.
highly anticipated follow-up sequel to The Witch, which was critically acclaimed. So The Lighthouse also had high expectations going into it, starring Willem, Dafoe, and Robert Pattinson. Basically, the only two characters in this movie, and only two actors.
Little known
What
fact about this movie: there's actually no audio.
Silent film,
Our producer Zoe
just kidding.
claims that she watched a version of this with no audio,
which is actually interesting.
and she thinks we've been gaslighting her for the past 20 minutes, and we tell her that there was actually audio. So we'll have to pull up a clip
Yeah.
so she can get schooled.
But yeah, this movie is I'd call it a genreless movie. I think Robert Eggers said that, or people producing the movie is named it as such. There's definitely horror elements. I would classify it more as a psychological thriller. But not thriller, but psychological movie mixed with horror. But yeah, I'm a huge Robert Eggers fan. The Witch is one of my favorite movies of all time. So I'm disappointed in myself that's taken me this long to watch this movie, and so I'm very excited to talk about it.
And before we do initial scores, we're going to do the intro. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of The Litterboxd, your favorite movie review podcast hosted by your favorite cat dads. I'm Matt,
I'm Dennis.
I'm Zack.
and this is...
The Litterboxd.
Hi.
You're fond of me lobster.
Tell me you're fond of me lobster.
I seen it. You're fond of me lobster.
Since we already know what you're going to give this, perhaps,
Do you?
well, based on your reaction to Zack's naming of it.
Well, that was before I saw it again.
Okay. Shiver me timbers.
Oh, okay. No, you guys are right. I don't like this movie.
Well, you gave it 3 stars your first go around. That's some sort of like.
That was also at a time where I was in a relationship with somebody that berated me for enjoying Old by M. Night Shyamalan. So, I don't know. Maybe I was afraid of getting beaten. But
I wouldn't compare those two, but
this movie is disappointing. With two cool stars that I do like, Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe. It's too artiste. It doesn't have really a point besides like two guys on a rock are scared because they're stranded, I guess. I don't know. And it tells it in a way that it's in a font that I don't really understand, if that makes sense. It's like written in Wingding's font as a movie.
I'm here for that.
It's like
description.
It's boring. It's dry. It's just two characters, and maybe that's the point, is to like make you feel as bored and insane as they do. But that's not what I want movies to do. It's not what I come to a movie for. So disappointed, but still not surprised. 4 stars out of 10.
4 stars out of 10.
Yeah.
True. Okay.
true.
Yeah, I think I mostly agree with Dennis. This one, I was kind of ready for it to be over from the second it started, to be honest, and it wasn't a good feeling. I was constantly checking the time. It's just very slow and 1890s New England, and there's no color. And it's so slow and dry to some people that they literally can't remember the audio. So I think that this one is, I think it's kind of more metaphorical. There's like some we'll talk about a little bit later, some ties to like Prometheus, and some like, I don't know, what do you even call that? Like other literature, like
allegories.
Well, I guess what family of, is that like, that's not like mythology, is it?
Well, yeah. Well, that specifically the Prometheus stuff. Yeah, that's mythology.
Okay, whatever. There's like ties to some other shit, and perhaps this is kind of a retelling of some mythological story that I don't give a shit about. But to be frank, I didn't even care enough to like look into it that much. This one was just, slow, boring, pacing. I would be shocked to find anyone that didn't think that this had a pacing issue. Extremely well acted, though. Like, Willem Dafoe is incredible, and honestly, Robert Pattinson's great, too. There's a couple of scenes in particular that I want to talk about, but I think that was the strongest part of the movie. I like the fact that Robert Eggers tries to do stuff outside of the box, but this one didn't hit for me. So I'll probably start this one off at a 5.
Damn. What's funny, I had a dream last night that you picked me up to come to the studio today, and we were like arguing about the movie already. And like I said how I actually feel when I'm about to reveal, and then you like liked it, and then like we were going back and forth.
So that just tells me that you don't like it. So let us know.
So I'm not as harsh on it as you two. I liked it a little bit more than both of you, but I totally agree with mostly everything both of you guys said. Just in terms of expectations off the bat, obviously coming from The Witch, I expected way more from this, and it just felt kind of substanceless, lacking substance, and it was too metaphorical. And like you said it perfectly, like, yeah, like a movie can have like all these like metaphors and allegories and trying to like retell like certain stories and like be cute and artsy with it, but that only works if you care about it, and it didn't give me a reason to care. So it's like that fell flat. It was a little too long. I don't necessarily think it's like I blame the pacing, because it is just like it's just a story of like a drive into insanity, like from sanity to insanity. So I think that naturally causes like a very slow start and build up to shit to happen at the end, which I'm okay with. But I guess my biggest problem with the movie is I've just like seen stuff like this all the time, like the typical like drive to insanity movie. Like a very like, nothing really is happening. It's like two characters. Like I've seen so many movies like that before.
What's another example?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I was trying to think about it this morning. I couldn't pick like a really good one. I just know there's a lot of movies out there. I'm sorry, audience, that I'm drawing blanks on that one. But
we'll hold him at gunpoint until he comes up with one.
I'll think about it throughout the pod. But I know there's definitely a lot of movies like that. So like this movie just doesn't do anything new for me, but also like Matt said, I like that Robert Eggers tries to do shit outside the box and is kind of artsy and creative. And like I'll give the movie credit, like said already, the acting is incredible. I wouldn't say it's boring. Like it's very dark and ominous, and I like the atmosphere. I do like the setting a lot. I thought the accents were neat, the dialogue, like I liked all of that. It's just the movie just didn't really do much, and it's just like the message it tried to portray, I didn't care about. So definitely disappointing, but I'm still gonna give it a 6.8 because I did enjoy it. Like I liked the ending.
I'm sorry. I'm
What?
gonna give it a 6.8 because although I didn't enjoy it,
No, I enjoyed
No,
it.
he did enjoy
No,
it.
I did enjoy it.
did enjoy it.
No, I did enjoy it. I wasn't bored at any point. And I thought it was shot really well. And again, I love this setting. I love the atmosphere. I like the format it was in, the basically black and white. Like I thought it was cool. And I'm always interested in like shit like the sirens, like the sexual mermaid, and like the horror aspects of that. Like it's scary as fuck. Like
I think that's me going quite like the sexual mermaid.
I don't know. And like Eggers does a lot of shit with sexuality in this movie too, and like some of that shit he did, it can be explained by fucking Reddit board posters and like deep shit. But again, I don't care that much, but it's interesting. So the movie was interesting. I'll leave it at that. Interesting, just not what I was hoping for. So yeah, 6.8.
Does it make you more or less excited for Nosferatu?
I'm unbelievably excited. It didn't affect expectations, positive or negative. I mean, he's showed in this movie. He's still got great craft. He's a great director. It's just the story that he wanted to tell just didn't jive with us. But like it got a fucking 90% Rotten Tomatoes. Like it jived with a lot of other people. It just didn't hit us the same, which is fine. I think if The Witch didn't come before this and this was some random A24 movie and my expectations weren't high, I think I would have liked it a tad bit more. It's just my expectations were through the roof for this. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, this has over a 4 on Letterboxd, which is the rare territory for those who are, for the trained eyes out there.
This is like high Letterboxd score bait the movie.
Dude,
I don't even know what that means.
Can we just, is this suffering from the Spirited Away effect of...
No, it's literally not. This is way different.
Of bandwagoning into a movie because other people say it's good, so you feel like you have to say it's good. I feel like this honestly might... Here's my case for this that I'm coming up with right now on the spot. This movie is so, I want to say like out there, but so metaphorical and like just not appealing to the mass audiences in any regard, really, in my opinion, that I would be shocked if people came in an independent situation and said, yes, I like this movie. Yes, I like this movie. If they didn't know that other people were saying that.
Well, yeah, this movie's incredibly split.
Because it's like, it makes you think that there's something that you're missing.
Yeah, this is annoying people's like favorite movie.
Yeah.
I kind of, I hate to agree with that, but I do.
Because there's like, yeah, I mean, I just can't imagine that the masses would be like, hell yeah, about this.
I'm reading in real time here that there are versions of the script that were quote unquote too clear. And Robert Eggers' goal was to make it as convoluted and have the audience go mad and become confused and disoriented like Winslow, Rob Pattinson's character in this movie. And so the final script was like made to kind of provide that effect and really kind of have the viewer not know what's going on. And I feel like having that goal as a director is just, fuck you.
I respect that. I mean, let's jump into spoilers, please. Spoilers.
Spoiler territory.
Because yeah, there's a lot of times in the movie where it's like that's so evident. Like so basically after Robert Pattinson's character really starts to go mad. So they're on the island for 4 weeks, right? This lighthouse, taking care of it, and then they're supposed to go home after 4 weeks. And then, due to some bad luck, Robert Pattinson's character kills a seagull, which is to be said to be like a cursed thing to do. There's like the souls of dead seamen within these seagulls, and it's just you don't want to fucking kill a seagull. He kills a seagull, and then like the wind immediately like changes direction. A storm's coming. Storm comes, and now they're trapped on this island for an indefinite period of time. And then that's when, to Dennis's point, Robert Eggers starts confusing the viewer because we start seeing we don't know what's happening. Basically, we don't know if everything that's happening, like weird shit starts happening at this point. We don't know if it's in Robert Pattinson's character's head. I need to pull up his fucking name, so I'm not saying that the whole time.
Ephraim Winslow.
Ephraim, which we also learn, spoiler, is also not his name. It's a fake name. But we'll say Ephraim for now. So Ephraim's going mad. He's seeing like a lot of visions and stuff, but then also Robert Eggers does some cool stuff with like playing on the viewer's perception, like what is really happening. So for example, at one point, Willem Dafoe's character, Thomas, is that correct?
Yeah.
We see that Thomas is basically like chasing him with an axe, which was a really badass scene, as Ephraim is trying to get away in a boat, and he smashes up the boat, and basically 5 minutes later, the viewer doesn't know. So, God, it's so convoluted in my head. It's the names that's getting me. Willem Dafoe's character is like basically gaslighting Robert Pattinson's character and telling him that no, actually he was the one chasing him with the axe. And so it's like the viewer doesn't know. That's just an example. The viewer doesn't know actually what's happening. It's all happening in his head. Is Willem Dafoe really just like a trickster and like trying to gaslight him, and he's just bad the whole time? Or is Robert Pattinson's character going truly crazy? Blah, blah, blah. Anyways, that's kind of like the whole second half of the movie. And I really respect and like that about it, because we're not supposed to know what's really happening. Like, and that's what I meant earlier about, I've seen that so many times in other movies where it's like, you know, it's like Joker, I guess, is an easy mainstream example, where it's like, did all that happen in his head? Like, it's just like a dive to insanity, and you're questioning as the viewer what's really happening. And so I like that, but it's not a new thing. But to Dennis's point that started this out, Dennis was like, fuck you to that, whereas I like, kind of appreciate it.
It's brave, and I guess I can appreciate.
Is it brave? Brave's, I don't know.
No, it's certainly brave, because he committed so hard to the bit and stuck with it, which, you know, hats off to you, sir, but get over yourself.
Oh my God.
Well, it's like
It's A24.
Your bit's not that good.
I talk about like accessibility, and the more accessible something is, doesn't necessarily make it, or it doesn't. I don't prefer something to be super accessible all the time, but there's a point where it's like, if I have to like find the blood of Christ on the internet and put it into the movie to unlock the fucking secret message, then I just don't give a fuck.
Annihilation is a great example. Annihilation on a surface level, watching it can be just viewed from a like mainstream audience as like some, I don't know, like a
sci-fi adventure.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to take, and then you go online and you read about it, and like my score goes from like a 6 to like a 9, just from diving deep. But I didn't catch any of it in the movie. I caught like half of it. So like that's one that frustrated you, and I think my score for Annihilation was like a 7.8. But looking back on it, I'm like, that it could be like a 9 for me. But it took all this research, and this movie's the same thing. Like. Normally, I give credit to movies when I have to do research. Like Men is another one that we did recently, where I did a lot of research after it, and I'm like, holy shit, it's raising my score. But there can be an argument made that that's a negative on the movie. And this movie is the first time this happened for me. When I did my research, I just found like, yeah, I get it, but I just don't care.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why I had that feeling, but that's what happened with this one.
Well, because there's got to be like, I just feel like we didn't get any payoff at all. Like, you sit through, it was like 2 hours basically, and you don't have any sort of resolution. We see that Robert or Winslow gets to look inside the light, the beacon at the tower, which is like his whole MO, the whole movie. And then that's it. We don't know what was in there, whether there was anything in there. He's just a fucking madman. Was anyone under the impression, or like at any point, did you all think that they could be the same person?
I thought about it a couple times, but I never put too much thought into it because I didn't think they were going that route.
I never thought about that a single time.
There is a scene when he finds the head of number 2. That's what he says.
And it was Willem Dafoe.
Yeah. Did you notice that too? The head looked like it was Willem Dafoe.
It definitely was.
No, I didn't realize that at all.
And then he said you killed your number 2,
and
like
I was
the
confused
second guy. And I was like, oh shit. Like, yeah, I don't know. Just like a bunch of trippy stuff. But it wasn't even like there was breadcrumbs for us to follow. Like, yeah, I kind of say fuck you on that too.
Yeah, I saw on the wiki that it said this was like loosely based on a half-finished Edgar Allan Poe story.
Titled The Lighthouse, very creative.
Yeah, well, I mean, that makes sense. I mean, it's Edgar Allan Poe, who's even older than the people in this movie, right? But that kind of makes sense. This is really kind of like slow burn spook fest. Like, the telltale heart is and stuff. If you guys recall that story from 8th grade English,
Yeah, I remember that.
where like the guy's heartbeat that he killed is still like beating beneath the floorboards and it's driving him crazy. Also, kind of akin to that SpongeBob episode with the squeaky boots under the floorboards of the Krusty Krab. So yeah, this movie's kind of like that, and I do like that it plays on a lot of like old-timey sailor tropes with, you know, aye, sir, aye, lad. I like pirate talk and seafaring references and stuff, so at least we got that. Like you said, very well acted as well, but by and large, the story, the whole point of the movie being what do you think is happening and trying to keep you guessing is just stupid and lame, and I feel like it's not lazy, but it's definitely not fun for me.
That's fair. I mean, to your point, like, this movie probably would have been better as, like, not a 2-hour film, but, like, a short story type thing.
Oh, big time.
But, like, it can be... But it's also... I don't think this movie is meant to be mainstream.
That's fair.
It's got an $18
early
million box office, and I would think that they deem that a success on an $11 million budget.
I mean, that's
like nothing. So it's definitely a niche film.
Yeah, and it was an early A24 film, too.
Over 500,000 people gave this a 4 or higher on Letterboxd. That's what I'm talking about, dude. No fucking way.
It's because the Letterboxd user base
I don't think
is
it's cap.
incel Redditors. All of them.
I can see how this movie works for a lot of people.
Yeah, but you didn't... How?
And by a lot of people, I don't mean a general audience. I mean...
500,000 people? The floor is yours.
Yeah, I can see that.
Our complaints with the movie are all subjective. We all agree that it's done really well.
There's no way 500,000 people know jack shit about Promethean or fucking...
But there's
whatever.
500,000 annoying people on that app.
I don't know, dude.
What do you mean?
Okay, let's talk about Rotten Tomatoes then.
Yeah, it's split. Yeah, the audience score is significantly lower than the critical score, which makes perfect sense for this movie.
Score.
I've never endorsed any Rotten Tomatoes, so I don't have anything of value to put here.
Matt and I love Rotten Tomatoes.
We're just talking about the percentage of people that are saying that this is they had a positive experience with the movie.
Like that
395 critics.
That's the perfect score for this movie. I totally agree with that.
72%
72 audience
said positive no fucking way.
Of the people that watched this movie.
Okay, well,
that's actually kind of fair.
I disagree with Dennis having a 4 out of 10. Like, I don't think it's a bad movie, but I think subjectively it doesn't work for people.
Yeah, that's why my 4 is there.
Like, it's a good movie and it's creative. He said brave, but I mean,
that's a good point about 72% of the people that watch the movie, because no way that all the people that I'm counting on to bring that score down are watching this movie to begin with.
I mean, look at
look
at the thumbnail of the video.
Yeah,
this doesn't exactly scream, let's take the family to the theater to watch this.
But okay, so this kind of goes back to both points we're making right now. The Witch, first off, was Robert Eggers' first movie, so nobody knows who the fuck that was. Not a lot of people went to go see that. But that's a movie that's like kind of perfectly like toes the line between accessible and not. Mm-hmm. Like, for starters, you can't even understand what the fuck they're saying. At least you can understand what they're saying in this movie. That movie is kind of really hard to follow.
A little better.
No way you can understand. I had to watch this shit with fucking...
I did too, which I never do.
It's just spoken way too old English. Yeah. Way too old.
Well, I think you can't argue The Witch is way worse.
And they're grumbly sailors.
But The Witch still can just be The Witch is like both. Like, you can watch it and be like, oh, I get it, and it's like
the ending is clear in that movie.
You know what? Yeah, you know why The Witch is good is because it has this sense of mystery and horror and drama throughout the entire movie, and then it culminates to the climax where you do get some sort of resolution. And
I agree with that.
Some payoff. You get retribution for your time. But in this movie, it's left open-ended, and it really just leans so heavily on you decide what your truth is, and your subjective experience tells the narrative. And I think that's stupid. It would have been much cooler if we found out at the end of the movie there actually was some sort of enchantment in the light of the lantern and of the lighthouse, or
to show us what's in the lantern.
Well, exactly. I'm glad they didn't show us what's in the lantern. We can get into that,
and like,
if you want to.
You know, he has these visions at some point of like a tentacle, you know, moving around up inside the lighthouse. Or, you know, it would have been cool if we got the payoff of finding out, oh, maybe they were the same person after all. Where we found out the true narrative of like what actually did happen. Was Willem chasing Rob with the axe, or was Rob chasing Willem with the axe? But it's just not that kind of movie. Again, I respect his decision, but I liked, you know, Black Phillip actually being the devil all along, and his transformation into Satan was neat for me.
It's also cooler source material, I think, anyways.
That's true. I agree with that.
But,
yeah, anything tied to mythology, like, I don't know, maybe I should care. But it's like, well, here's the other thing is like, that whatever story or like source material you're basing off of should be somewhat general knowledge. Otherwise, you're not only are you banking on.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Well, let me finish my point and then see what you think. But like, so if you're going to bank on having an unclear or ambiguous ending, or just kind of an ambiguous storytelling method as we have here, that ultimately leans on the audience being able to relate it to X source material. But that source material, the people that would know about that is an even smaller niche of the audience that's watching the movie. So it's like, okay, I'm aiming for 15. This movie is like for 15% of the people that are going to watch it, basically.
I agree with that.
See what I'm saying?
Maybe.
And I feel like that is
What
whatever.
mythology
If you're
is this
part of
tied
that,
to?
like the Promethean, like the ending of the movie when he's getting his shit pecked out of him. It's the Promethean
Scroll down
punishment
to
that-
analysis. It says it really well.
Well,
in
it's just
here.
not even a good exemplification of that. That in
Look
no
how
way
deep this
screams
is. Like all these different
Prometheus to me.
categories. Like Robert Eggers wanted to say all these messages on sexuality, on mythology, and it's like you have to kind of care about this shit.
It was all lost on me. I mean, whatever. I get it, but also, maybe I'm just mad because I want to be a part of that 15% that he was targeting, and I'm not.
Like the homoeroticism stuff. It's like, yeah, it's in the movie, but it's like, what's the fucking point? Like, I just didn't really care about any of that.
Also, were you saying, has anyone said anything about the, like, directors coming out afterwards and be like, well, I'm not saying this is, but I'm not saying it's not. It's
Yeah.
like, well, just fucking say something.
Yeah, that's a
Because
childish
it's kind of,
approach to
it's kind of just like, well, whatever you want. And to some degree, I get that. Like,
play both sides. So I always come out on
Right.
I totally agree
yeah.
with that, or with the director's part in that. Why would they just?
Are these
Why would they define
on the point of
shit?
sexuality? This is Robert Eggers replied on whether the film was a love story. Am I saying these characters are gay? No, I'm not saying they're not either. Sick.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing. Like, might as well just not even.
What are you
reply to
talking
the
about?
question.
Finish.
Don't say anything.
That's just you just took out the worst. Finish.
Forget about complexities of human sexuality or their particular inclinations. I'm more about the questions than answers in this movie.
I totally agree with that. I like that.
That furthers my point, though. Like, if your whole goal is to just set up more questions, like,
He's not the first.
what are you
director
trying to
do that.
accomplish with that, though?
No, but all directors that do that should be drawn and quartered.
Whatever. Fuck them. All right. So, what do we like anything about this movie? Aside from the
I
acting?
like what you guys didn't like in this aspect right here. Like I like.
The sexual fantasy and masturbation pieces.
Yeah, what I did like, I liked how there were a couple funny moments in the movie. Namely, like when he gets to the lighthouse and he's like exploring the quarters and stuff, and he finds that like fuck hole that's been cut into the mattress. He pulls out some hair and then the naked mermaid doll or little statue, tchotchke or whatever, and he's like, I kind of see it on his face. He's accepting it like, oh my god, what the fuck am I doing here? Like, what have I gotten myself into? What is about to happen on these next 4 weeks that has drawn the previous tenants and lighthouse keepers to cut a fuckhole, store hair, and this literal, probably sex toy inside the mattress. And the other funniest part was when they wake up after their night of debaucherous drinking, the first one, and Rob needs to use the toilet, and he finds the 2 full pots of
Oh yeah.
Shit and piss.
shit and piss, and he's got to go empty them out. So he like trudges through the wind, and it's like beating him in the face. And he finally gets to the edge of the island, so he can like chuck the pots of human waste into the ocean. And he like chucks them, and then immediately they just blow back into his face because it's a hurricane essentially. And he kind of just stands there for a second,
Starts screaming.
and then he goes.
The scream was the funniest shit.
Yeah, it
ever.
cuts
Yeah.
away in mid scream, perfectly cut scream.
And then he gets back to the quarters, and Willem's like, "You smell of shit."
Yeah.
That I like. Okay, I do like how it does a good job of like kind of showing his descent into madness. But with that said, maybe he just wasn't cut out for this job because he's only there for 4 weeks, and he heard tell that he could make $600 or even $1,000 of $1961 just by tending the lighthouse for a month. You guys want to know what that is in like today's dollars?
1890s dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it?
$1,000 today would be 37 grand. 600. The low end of his pay would be 22 grand
Damn.
for 1 month of work. Like simply just lock in and do the work, dude. There was no reason he needed to get that mad at the seagull. Willem Dafoe's character was not that annoying. He was just old and crazy.
Okay, but
the weather was bad. But
that's another question. There's a whole nother thing of like, there's a point to be made that Robert Pattinson's character was mad before he even came to the island. I mean, he let a guy die. Like, he basically killed a guy. And so he's on the run.
Sure.
And that's kind of his whole his MO, like his story, why he's here. Because he lies to Willem Dafoe's character early on when he says that. He was like, oh, why are you here? Like, what brings you out here? And he's like, hey, I just like bounced from job to job. I never really found my place. Willem Dafoe's character kind of questioned that. And then later on, he reveals that he... I don't even remember like exactly explain how he let the guy die when at his old job.
Like, fell in the water or something, and then the trees covered him up in the
lumber.
Water. Yeah, because he used to work.
He used to work in Canada and the forest, being a lumberjack basically. And so he has all this guilt of letting that guy die, and it's stayed with him forever. So there's an argument to be made that he's been mad all along, and being isolated on this island just drove him off the edge. But I don't know. Again, it all sounds nice on paper, but I just don't care. Doesn't really do much for me. I've seen this before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, then there's like the Oedipus complex and like whatever.
It's so
like,
much.
I think that like whatever. Maybe
and it's okay.
Maybe I'll dampen my harsh criticism.
I bet this was written by fans of the movie. I bet Robert Eggers had maybe a fourth of what is written here.
No,
in
look
mind.
at this.
Dude,
look
this
at
is legit.
This shot right here. That was literally in the movie. This is from
that's the end of the movie?
This is the shot where Willem is looking at Robert and it's literally the same exact shot with the light beaming out of his eyes.
True.
So like, whatever. Basically, we're just looking at the wiki and seeing some references to some of the themes that Eggers was trying to portray and whatever. I guess maybe it's just that I don't care and that's the problem. But I also think that there's a Venn diagram of I don't care and fuck you, Robert Eggers coming together here.
I will never say fuck you, Robert Eggers.
Well, watch The Northman, and that'll be the final.
There's a reason I haven't watched that, because it's content I don't care about.
That's Norse, right?
Yeah, I do not care about Norse mythology at all.
You don't care about this either, though.
I know, but I still respect it. But The Northman's also made for a wider audience. It's not a niche little artsy movie. I prefer a niche artsy movie over The Northman, which is like an action movie.
You'd get more out of The Northman, perhaps, though. That's my...
I got a lot out of this. I just subjectively didn't enjoy it as much as I was wanting
All right,
to.
what did you enjoy? Besides the acting, because I think the acting was really insane.
The acting was great. I was never bored, and I didn't have as much problem with the pacing as y'all did. Like the dialogue between the two characters I thought was interesting. I always think it's interesting seeing a character go mad and your descent into madness or insanity. Like, I enjoy that. I've seen it a lot, but I enjoy it. And Robert Pattinson did a great job of doing that in this film. And it's just like overall, just like the horror-esque, like dark atmosphere and like moody movie. I mean, atmosphere, I guess, is the only word I could use here. Like, it was just, I was in. Like, I felt like I was there. Like, the movie brought me in into its setting, and like I wanted to stay in its setting. Like, I liked it a lot. And then just like the imagery was like incredible. Like,
no, I thought it was shot well too.
I don't know, like the sexy mermaid, like his visions. The creepiest part of the movie is when he's sneaking up to the light and he sees Willem Dafoe's character basically either making love or jerking off to something, as semen literally peeps. That was so fucking weird, but it was hilarious. And then you see the tentacle or whatever. Like, it's so like, you're like, oh my god, what is this? And it piques your interest, and you're like so curious. But to another point, it's like that never gets explained or anything, which is a negative.
Big
but
negative.
again, like,
Huge.
so I still got to appreciate like the creepiness and eeriness and weirdness of the movie. I like that, and I enjoyed it. It deserves points for that.
Just throw in a tentacle, unexplained tentacle, and
Oh my
you'll
God.
get a point. You'll get at least one additional point to your score of Zack.
I love when Matt like grossly reduces anything we say to some quip about something that hardly applies.
Oh.
Like, you have this great explanation about this point about the tentacle being there and it being cool, building intrigue and stuff. And then all Matt takes from it is, okay, so all we need to do to make you like something is put an unexplained tentacle in there.
Put a overgrown vagina on a mermaid,
Sexual mermaid.
and Zack
No,
gives it a 6.
Whatever. I'm just giving you shit.
I know.
That mermaid carving sold for 110 grand at an auction to an anonymous bidder.
It was broken in half, though, right? Or was that a separate prop?
That was my sources say nothing of being broken in half.
Mm.
All right, can we just say that this movie is extremely frustrating? I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Wait, did either of you check the time at all during this?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, not for you. Damn.
I'm usually the time checker, but
Probably like 6 times at least I checked. I'm like, oh, Christ. I even took
I did
2 hour
pause the
nap before.
movie for 20 minutes because I had to get my insurance from my eye doctor on my appointment.
No, okay. That explains his
But I had to
story.
get that done.
He got a break.
They were calling me.
He got a
Yeah,
break.
an intermission.
Yeah.
No, God. Well, I don't have anything else to say about this. No, I'm just kidding. But
I mean, I really don't.
it
I don't want to talk about the analysis because I don't care about it.
that makes us bad movie podcasters to not talk about the analysis. But honestly, this is a shitty movie review podcast, so you can't expect the best out of us all the time.
No, they're getting the best. That's the problem. Listen.
This is the podcast for the film bros, not the artistes.
Nothing good can happen when 2 men are trapped in a giant phallus.
That's actually a great message. That is the message of the movie. It's like what they say, like nothing good happens after midnight. Nothing good happens with just two men in a lighthouse. Great message.
2 men
Robert.
in a sexual murder.
Yeah. Definitely don't include it.
And visions of lives past.
Do you know Willem Dafoe is a big fan? So his background is all in like theater and like stage performing.
Mm.
And I say his background meaning probably like the first 20 years of his acting career or something like that. Which is probably like in the grand scheme of things, maybe like a third of his acting career. Anyway, he loves to rehearse and like go over his shit over and over and over again. Whereas Rob Pattinson is more of this new age actor where he likes to, improvise more on the spot and like see what the character does for him, when he's in the scene. And so they kind of not butted heads, but kind of their acting styles clashed in, preparing for this movie because Rob Pattinson wanted to not play his cards too early when it came to interacting with Willem Dafoe on camera. So that's kind of a neat thing, right? Like their acting styles clash in real life, the way their characters clash on screen. They kind of both have just different operating styles, and it shows.
Yeah, no, I definitely appreciated the casting in this movie, and that's an interesting fact behind the scenes. Willem Dafoe was excellent. I certainly did not have Robert Pattinson walking Willem Dafoe on a leash on my 2019 bingo board. But I certainly got it, and the scene where Willem is being buried alive is insane. Like, that is so good. That's like the best part of this movie for me. This is probably one of the best performances I've seen out of him.
It's my favorite of his of all time.
Yeah, I think it's probably my favorite. He's several scenes, so he's like kind of playing this. We talk about Robert Pattinson's character being crazy or kind of becoming mad. But Willem Dafoe's character is like old and kind of fucking mad to begin with, and he doesn't even blink during a lot of his scenes, and he has these kind of like, not monologues, but...
Well, sorry to interrupt. Speaking of the monologue, I was going to bring this up. It's my favorite part of the movie was the dialogue after Robert Pattinson says he doesn't like his cooking, and then he goes off about this whole...
He damns him.
Yeah, damns him. Like, that whole scene, it just zooms in on his eyes. He looks like a fucking monster within himself. And then that was, like, creepy, and he, like, just acting chops out the fucking wazoo. It was so fucking good.
There's scenes where his eyes, well, not only is he not blinking, but his eyes, like, everything from his eyes up is not moving at all, but his mouth and, like, nose are moving, and, like, the facial control that you have to have. It's just, like, acting plus, for acting for experts, and Willem Dafoe definitely flexed his muscles in this, and the scene where he's getting all the dirt, like I said, thrown in his face, and he's like literally chewing on it and trying to talk and getting it in his eyes, and I'm like,
how do they film that?
This guy is fucking 65 or 60, well, he's 63 when this movie came out. I'm like, you got him crawling on all fours, throwing dirt in his face. I mean, like, you better have a fucking EMT on set because this guy could kick it at any moment.
When I was watching that, I was like, how were they filming that? Like, were they giving him, like, edible... Like, was the dirt, like, some sort of edible thing that he could just...
Yeah, probably was, like, chocolate or some shit.
Yeah, he could just swallow it and not... Because that was crazy.
Either way, though, just, like, getting anything fucking thrown in your mouth. And the dialogue doesn't seem like it's very easy to memorize either because it's all in this essentially foreign tongue.
sailor speak.
Yeah.
He does a really good job of it. He made it seem real natural. I totally bought it because he looks that old. He looks like a demented person anyway.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. My only problem is, like, I think it was especially during that crazy monologue, but, like, there's sometimes he'll speak and I'm like, dude, that's the Green Goblin.
Mm.
And it's funny. I'm like, I wish he wasn't the Green Goblin, but he was an amazing Green Goblin.
Filmed on set in Yarmouth, Nova Scotia. I've actually been there.
Wait, where's Nova Scotia again? Is
Canada.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Oh.
Halifax.
I always think it's on the other side of the plane.
I was going to say, yeah, it sounds like it's in the European realm.
Yeah.
It's like right up the... it's a short 4-hour catamaran ride from Maine.
Mm. So have you seen said house?
Maybe, but I don't remember it being... I mean, last time I was there was 2008.
Was Willem there on the catamaran?
I'm not sure I knew Willem's name at the time.
Was Robert Eggers on the catamaran scouting filming location?
No, bro. This was 11 years before the movie came out.
I'm just shit.
He looks good there.
Look at all these old...
I mean...
He looks older there
looks
than
fine.
he does in...
He's always looked old. He looked old
Okay,
as
he looks good
Norman
there.
Osborn
Yeah, that's true.
in 2002.
Dafoe and his looker of a wife. Who is this?
Can you stop? That's his daughter. Just kidding. It's not.
That's Giada.
His wife.
Giada Colagrande.
Can you respect them? They've been married for almost 20 years. Stop inserting yourself into everyone's relationship.
What are you talking about? That was literally a remark of respect.
RSPCT. Find out what it means.
Defoe is a pescatarian, so it'd be a real shame if his lobster was not good.
Damn.
All right, we're really scraping the bottom of the barrel here.
We're done.
The turpentine barrel, if you will. The fact that they started drinking turpentine.
I was confused by
whatever,
that. What is that?
It's like gasoline, basically.
Oh.
Right?
Turpentine is like turtles.
I don't know where he got
Am
that word
I fucking
from.
stupid?
But when they run
Yeah,
out of
turpentine
alcohol,
oil right here. It's like oil.
From turtles.
No, it's from pine trees.
it's from Vicks Vapor Rub.
But it's essentially, for all intents and purposes.
What is University of
this is like
Maryland's
alcohol.
mascot?
The Terrapins.
Terrapins.
Get the fuck out.
Turpentine and a terrapin. Your choice.
But yeah, they literally are drinking this because they ran out of drink and food. So they're just...
Dude, that was so grimy. When they were mixing it and it was like sticky, I'm like, how are you even drinking this?
Yeah, it's like kerosene. Ew, bro.
Dude, that gets you fucked up. Let's try it.
Obviously, it's alcohol. If you drink rubbing alcohol, it'll get you fucked up.
Hand sanitizer, likewise.
Oh, I thought Meredith Palmer in The Office did that just to be funny. I didn't know you could actually get drunk from that.
I mean, it's not drunk. It's like probably like sniffing glue or something like that.
Still a buzz.
It's a heightened level of toxicity.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, I'm ready for final scores.
Are you happy you picked this one?
Absolutely. I mean, I had to watch this, and it was good for the pod. But just
Was it good for the pod? Our viewership is dropping. By the... No, I'm just kidding.
Watch
No,
your
the only question, the only thing is because it's just like I don't have much to contribute to this conversation, but I feel like
I just really
that's
hope
an accurate representation of probably a lot of people's experience with this film. So
he just
we're staying true to the.
He just wanted to do a little artsy mythology type of metaphor movie. Let him have it. Don't let this affect Nosferatu,
It's gonna.
which is his next true horror movie after The Witch. But if you don't respect The Witch, then
Willem Dafoe's in that. And he looks-
Nosferatu?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I guess I knew that. I forgot about it. I know what's his name from X-Men First Class.
There's no years.
James Marsden.
Nicholas.
Look, there's Willem.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, that's sick.
That's the mad vampire hunter.
The cast is amazing.
Wait, he is Nosferatu.
No, this is.
No,
this
he's
is
a vampire
different movie.
hunter.
Huh?
He played Nosferatu in a different
That's interesting.
movie,
Interesting.
but he plays.
Mad vampire hunter.
Wait, is Nosferatu the actual vampire?
Yeah,
Yes.
he's the monster.
Okay, yeah. So he plays the vampire hunter in the new one.
That's him?
Yeah, that's Willem.
That looks more legit, the other one, or is that from the old movie?
That's from the old movie.
Okay, understood.
This is just like a still they released recently.
That looks cool.
Yeah, it's got mad potential.
It's based on like one of the first horror movies ever back in like the 20s or 30s.
Hmm.
That's what the old OG monster looked like, which to this day, like in certain lighting,
What?
is scary. That one.
No.
It's back when they didn't have a lot of
Yeah, you got to respect for the time period.
Skill.
a lot of
Nicholas
tools and a
Hoult.
tool belt.
Nicholas Hoult. That's who I was thinking of. I love him.
Lily Rose Depp.
And yeah, she's going to be amazing in this.
New woman
As
crush.
the love interest,
yeah.
probably.
All right, let's wrap it and snap it.
Dennis.
Disappointing movie. Definitely not for me. Knowing people are going to be up in arms about this rating, but don't like it. I appreciate the forced rewatching of it because I needed to reaffirm that it wasn't just my state of mind at the time, but I wasn't a fan. Rob Pattinson is really good. I liked his character a lot. Willem Dafoe's good as always, but nothing out of the ordinary there. Don't recommend, honestly. 3.5.
Oh.
Oh my God.
There's one funny moment.
That moment I was actually laughing my ass off at that. Also, like, why the fuck are you walking to the edge of the island to throw the shit?
That's what I thought. Just throw it anywhere.
Yeah.
You kind of deserved it, Rob.
Yeah, but
Idiot.
You shit face. No. I thought it was good.
he was a dullard.
Yeah. He spilled his beans. Yeah, I don't know. I lowballed this initially. I was going to give it a 6, and I'll give it a 6 because the acting was stellar.
Thank you.
The acting could literally not have been. Dennis is making crude.
This is the same guy
gestures.
that thinks if you respect Robert Pattinson and the Batman means you're dick riding. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
that
dude.
movie's critically split.
He's infinitely.
Not everybody is obsessed with that movie. It's not a mainstream thing where
That's
everybody
fine.
thinks it's amazing.
But I'm mad that both of you think it's amazing.
I didn't say his performance in that is amazing. I just think the movie's amazing. Batman,
Okay.
the Batman. Anyways, if I may,
You may.
I think the acting in this is so good that you can't give it anything less than a 6. That's my opinion. Because this movie would have literally had me offing myself from said rock if there was not performances like this to keep me at least somewhat interested. I mean, it's beautifully shot too. It's not necessarily like something I'm not craving 1:1 ratio. But whatever, it's cool. I think it was technically a strong film, but the narrative and story is what let me down. And so yeah, I'll stick it at a 6.
Fair. Yeah, I basically agree exactly with Matt. Technically a great film. I mean, Robert Eggers continues to showcase his craft. But to the same point, yeah, like Matt said, the story just was a little frustrating for me. Didn't really care about any of the metaphors or messages he was trying to portray, which is subjective. But still, I thought it was very enjoyable. I love the time period, the spooky atmosphere, the ambiguous, I don't know without
Intentions, purpose, message, happenings.
Yeah, I'm one of those few idiots that love that. I like open-ended stuff, questions, like not knowing what's going on. I appreciate that. And so the movie worked on some levels for me, but the word frustrating keeps coming to my head because I do think there could have been a greater story here. And definitely following up from The Witch kind of leaves me a little salty. Like if they were flipped, this was like his first showcase and The Witch followed, that would have played better for me. But nonetheless, still, I like it. I'm gonna give it a 6.8. I'm gonna drop it by a couple points, a couple of decimals.
That's exactly where you started at for the record. So.
I thought I started at a 7. No, I thought about a 7 coming in here. Okay, well, I'm staying the same. 6.8. I liked it more than them just because, again, I like the atmosphere. Like Matt said, the acting was incredible, kept me engaged, and I wasn't bored. So there's that.
Key comparison here: The Lighthouse and Halloween Ends ended with the same average score between the three of us, and I think that could not be more appropriate.
That's frustrating on a whole nother level for me.
All right, Denny boy, you're up.
Ready?
Wait. I thought, what's his name's new movie? Civil War.
I mean,
I thought we were doing that next.
that was never discussed.
When does that come out?
Oh, maybe that's. I keep seeing reviews for it, so I just assumed.
Oh,
Alex Garland's new movie.
we never discussed.
Never mind.
Okay. Well, we're going to do the first ever revisit of a movie we've already reviewed. I'm lying.
It's gonna be
That
like,
got me. He gets me every time with this.
We're gonna. I'm not giving you guys a choice this time. We're gonna watch Burn After Reading from 2008 with Brad Pitt, and it had George Clooney and some other fun stars. But this is a short one, so it's gonna be extra enticing.
how short?
I think it's like just over 100 minutes.
Nice.
Please hold. Please hold.
I haven't seen that. Have you?
I know what it is. I've never seen it.
96 minutes.
I remember the trailer coming out back in the day.
It was either that or Uncut Gems, and I didn't want to choose Uncut Gems.
Ooh, that's on my short list too. That'll get picked.
Y'all have never seen that?
I have.
Oh.
Have you?
Mhm.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Good pick. Excited to see Brad, even though I hear he's a shithole these days. Perhaps all the days, but
It's John Malkovich
his son hates him.
in this one.
Well, he's
John
a celebrity.
Malkovich is
It's
in
like
this?
required.
It's a black comedy with John Malkovich, so it has to be
Oh
good.
God, not black comedy. I'm historically
black comedies
bad.
are great.
We
I'm
love black
historically
comedies.
bad at understanding understanding my own opinions of black comedy. All right, cool. Well, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Litterbox for the Snoozer, and check us out wherever you listen to podcasts. Check us out on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram,
Google
wherever
Plus.
you get your content. Not Google Plus. We
Pinterest.
love you. Leave us a review. Bye bye.
Thank you.